What's up, Cash Crew? Welcome to another episode. We are going to jump into the Super WildCard weekend. Before we get started, what's going on, Vlad?
What's going on? Welcome back for another episode. We're going to have a special episode this week. This time of year is a great time. NFL players just started, so we're going to switch it up a little bit this week. We got a special episode for you guys.
All right, so let's jump right into it. We're kind of in a weird spot because we've got games that just were played, and we're going to jump into the Seattle Seahawks and what happened. But then we have games yet to be played that's going on tomorrow. So we're just going to go ahead and talk about what just happened. So let's talk about, what was the first game? We had the Bills playing. Bills played against the Colts today.
Yep. Bills versus Colts.
What'd you think about that game?
Actually, I'll be honest. The Colts played better than I thought. I thought the Bills was going to at least win by a touchdown and field goal, or at least 2 touchdowns, but it just ended up coming to a field goal game. Stephon Diggs obviously did his thing, a touchdown with 146 yards, but I was a little disappointed in the Bills. I thought they would play a little bit better. I think they let the Colts hang around a little bit too long, and they almost lost it, but they end up getting through, and they're moving on.
I actually thought the Bills were going to win it from the beginning of the game. I didn't predict it on the podcast, but I did think the Bills. But then again, I'm biased because Tyler Bass is on that team, and I got to watch him kick for Georgia Southern for 4 years. So that didn't really mean anything about the team itself, but I'm just biased towards the Bills winning that. So it's going to be tough, though, going forward. It's not going to be as easy, and you're not going to be able to let teams hang around. But when you have someone like Josh Allen, things can be done and then you got Stephon Diggs as well. A lot of options on that offense, but they need to get it going. Slow starts, you can't have that in the playoffs.
Absolutely, especially going into that next round. If that happens, they could obviously be beat next round if they do have a start date like they did today. But Josh Allen did step it up the second half, kicked it into gear, and Stephon Diggs obviously came up big. But again, it's the playoffs. It's any given Sunday, so if you get off to a slow start, it's not going to be good for you. So definitely next week, I hope they get it together. Definitely, I think they'll be playing the winners of
the Browns
and the Steelers.
Woo-wee.
So, however that game gets played out, which will be tomorrow, actually, that's going to be a tough matchup for whether it's the Browns or the Steelers. So, yeah. Bills, you got your work cut out for you.
Facts. All right, what other games did we have?
We definitely had the Seahawks versus the Rams, which I think was the best matchup for the first half of WildCard weekend.
Super WildCard is what they're calling it. Super de-duper WildCard weekend.
That was your team. What would you think about it? That was your team to go all the way to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they didn't go. They lost in the first round. So, how you feel about the Seahawks getting beat by the Rams?
It's ridiculous, man. You know what? You just got to take your hat off to a generational player. Aaron Donald is a force of nature.
He's a freak.
He's unreal, man. When we talk about DK Metcalf being Baby Braun, and by the way, did you see him on the sideline be pissed off? So he's a very intense player, but Aaron Donald doesn't lead that way. He just goes out and gets it done. And up until the time that he was struggling, hopefully he's okay, but he was struggling to breathe a little bit towards the end of the game, and they still won because they were already up 30-13 at that point. But he just wreaked havoc, and that is saying something because Russell Sierra Wilson is he's very good at evading tackles, but that's why I'm saying Aaron Donald is such a generational talent, because the reason why he's so good, and our friend of the show, Dub will tell you, his feet. He's got quick feet, the quickest feet that we've seen in a long, long time. I don't know. I can't really think of anyone.
For his size, he has ballerina feet.
It's ridiculous.
Be able to
Twinkle
move
toes.
like that. Yeah, it's. But I don't think it's just the feet. His power.
Yeah.
It's two guys. Him and Khalil Mack. It's just once they put those arms on you, it's like a tow truck moving you out the way. Beep beep, get out my way because
Mack truck. Oh, I see what you did there.
So it's like I don't even think you can single cover these guys because
No way.
first of all, they don't just use all power. They actually have moves, especially Aaron Donald. He has a lot of moves in his repertoire. He got a lot of swim moves, so he knows how to use his hands, but then he knows how to use his body and his feet to maneuver, and then the speed. The speed is, man. I've been watching football for about 2 decades now, almost, and I don't think I've seen Julius Peppers of the world and so on and so on, and
it's a good one.
I don't think I ever seen somebody like Aaron Donald.
No, not at all. But to be honest, if we're talking about both, I'm taking Aaron Donald for the simple fact of his speed. Being that I've been watching a lot of Bears football this year, Khalil Mack. Not to say that he's been unimpressive. Don't get me wrong. But when we compare the two, the speed is what sets Aaron Donald apart. Khalil Mack will just push you out of the way with brute strength.
Strength. He has the power.
But Aaron Donald has both speed and strength. It's unbelievable how fast
and skill.
Aaron Donald.
I think it's all three. It's a combination because there's a lot of guys that have the power in the league. There's a lot of guys that have the speed in the league. But he actually has skill with it. Depending who he match up, he knows when to use speed. He knows when to use power. Sometimes he knows when to use both. And like I said, and of course we never seen somebody in his position. I mean, look at his physique. The guy's cut. He's cut like he's a linebacker. So it's one of those things. You look at him and shout out to him because it's not a fluke. He's been doing this for at least the past 4 years consistently.
Yeah.
That's the most impressive thing. Like, he's not declining. He's been consistent with this, and that's why he deserved being a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year and maybe 3-time after this year.
It's just ridiculous, man. I remember seeing a video, and it may have been Dub that tweeted this out, of him going through his drills. And is he the one that practices with knives? Like, I don't know if it was Aaron Donald that does that, but there's this famous drill where they've got to evade knives. I don't know if it was him or not, but the video that I saw was just him going through his drills. When they lay down the mats on the ground and you got to do your feet drills, and he looked like a wide receiver's feet. And when I saw that, I just said, man, quarterback's worst nightmare.
Absolutely.
So, worth every penny that he earned so far, and hoping that the rib injury that he got at the end of the day or the end of the game is not something serious, and we can enjoy watching him in the next game.
I think he'll be back. He looked like he was fine. It was just a little rib check after tackling Russell Wilson for the third time for almost a third sack.
That's crazy. You get hurt from doing your job too well.
Yeah, and it almost led to his third sack of the game. But I mean, he'll be back. The Rams played a great game. They played a great defensive game per se. The defense played very, very well. Even DK had 2 touchdowns, but they contained them for a good majority of the first half. Obviously, he had that big broken play touchdown for his first touchdown of the game, but they contained Russell Wilson very well. So
maybe I need to stop doing some predictions because I haven't been doing well. I predicted Harden was coming. Harden is still chilling in Houston. I don't have a knack for this, so when you ask me to predict, I'm just going to say maybe this will happen, but don't hold me to it.
Well, and then we got our last game of the night.
It's happening right now.
Washington versus the Tampa Bay.
The football team versus the Buccaneers.
Versus the Bucks. Obviously, I'm going to go with my Ohio State, who I also think would be Rookie of the Year, Chase Young, and the Washington football team.
You what?
Yes, I'm going with them to win it.
Bro, this is going to be a blowout.
Hey, we'll see. It's the playoffs. You never know.
Oh, my God. Who is the quarterback even for the Washington football team?
Alex Smith.
Isn't he hurt?
Oh, he's back.
Oh, okay. Anyway, still trash.
But that defensive line, don't sleep, man. And we all know the number one way to beat Brady is put pressure on him.
Yeah.
Once you can put a hand on him, you disrupt his rhythm, you disrupt his mental. He starts hesitating, he starts shaking, and you can have him in a tight spot, and you probably can put him against the ropes and have a good chance of beating him. So that defensive line in Washington is all first rounders.
I see a theme here. We've been talking about Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, and
Chase Young
now,
is the next one coming up.
Yeah, future is bright. Unfortunately, if you're a quarterback, it's looking scary out there. At least 3 times a year against those guys.
If you're in the NFC, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Washington, I did not expect that. I thought you were going to say Chase would have a good game.
I mean, he's going to have a good game. He might have 1 sack and I'll say about 4 to 5, maybe 6 tackles, but he's going to touch Brady.
But Washington does have some really good young pieces. On offense, they've got wide receiver Terry McLaurin. I hope I say his last name, or McLaughlin, something like that. But he's really good. I haven't, watched a lot of their games, but I know that him and Chase have been having a great year. So we'll see. I don't believe that Tom Brady is here to play. He came to snatch wigs. He came to prove that he is the GOAT. He's a man on a mission, and he's raised the level of play. And don't forget AB. Don't forget AB. They are out there playing backyard, throw it up, and what do we call it back in the day? Throw him up, hit him up, something like that.
Hit him up, Moss.
Yeah, so AB,
variety of names.
AB is out there just. I don't even feel like he's really in shape yet. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, until next year, I don't think he really will be because he came into the season very late, and then also obviously I don't think he's their number one option because the Bucs have a lot of weapons, so they're not looking at him every play. So you don't get your feet under you, you don't get as many reps as you would if he was in Oakland. But maybe if they make a deep playoff run, maybe touch the Super Bowl, he'll probably be back to somewhat of the old AB, but I don't think until next year he'll be fully AB like we remember him.
But Tom Brady having that offensive arsenal there, I really feel like it'll be a blowout. But like you said, we'll see.
We'll see.
So if Washington, or let's say whoever comes out of this game, they are going to be playing the winners of, let's see. It's on the other side of the bracket.
So Washington is the.
I actually don't see it on here. They're in the NFC, but we'll get to our predictions in a second. But I think we left out one game. No, those were the only games
for today.
Yeah, those are the only games for today. So I am really interested in some of these games that are coming up tomorrow. So let's talk about those.
So the first game, the early game, we got the Ravens versus Titans, part 2 again. This year I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, we agree. But
you better stop that freight train and Derrick Henry, because if you let him run loose tomorrow,
and that's what happened last game. They just
man.
And to be honest, whoever wins this game, we know what's waiting. So it's like do I really care? Of course I care, because I want to see. I'm really waiting to see the 2 black quarterbacks, even though one is half, but still 2 black quarterbacks.
We do need that.
I need
we're
to
due
see
for that.
I want to see the fireworks. I want to see no defense being played whatsoever.
No. I need to see a little.
I want to see 100 points being scored, behind the backs. Patrick Mahomes, you know what I'm saying? Magic Johnson on the field. I want to see that. So I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. Lamar Jackson from down there in South Florida. I want to see that.
But I will say the Ravens better come to play.
Yeah.
The Titans are no joke. And you better wrap up tomorrow.
You know how I bet. I bet on human emotion. I don't bet on just who's better, I don't bet on any of that. I bet on human emotion. And if I were a betting man, which I am, so if you are a betting man or woman, I would bet on the Ravens. Why? Because they got a bad taste in their mouth from last year.
They do.
And I really do think they are playing their best football right now. And you can't stop Derrick Henry. You can only hope to contain him. And so hopefully he doesn't run wild tomorrow, because it will be a long day.
Absolutely, but at the same time, on the flip side, you better hope Lamar is not running all over the field, because we all know the Ravens go as the running game goes. So you have to contain Lamar, you have to contain Mark Ingram, and if you let them two run wild also, you're going to be in for a long day. But I think Lamar's due for 100 yards, throwing and possibly running, and definitely Mark Ingram is due for 100 yards running tomorrow. And then obviously we might see a big play from Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So Titans, tighten up. Right. But at the same time, Ravens, don't sleep, because Derrick Henry, he can come up tomorrow and wake up and give you 200 yards on the field, running the ball. So that's not a one-man job. It has a collective group. You guys have to come and you got to wrap up, because he's due for a stiff arm on somebody. Yeah. That's definitely you can't miss that game. You cannot miss that game. And weirdly, an AFC game is on ABC, so definitely catch that game. So let's move on to the next AFC game. We're talking about the Browns and the Steelers. Long rivalry from hundreds of years, it feels like, but really just storied franchises. And the Browns back in the playoffs, man. How long has it been? They do not have OBJ. Haven't had him for a long time. You missed a game.
You missed one. I missed one?
Bears Saints.
Oh, no, I'm staying AFC right now.
Oh, AFC. Okay. My bad.
Mm-hmm. So Browns Steelers. Who you got?
I'm going with the upset. Like I said earlier, Steelers give me...
You are going with the Dookie Browns?
I'm going with the Browns for the upset.
Wow.
Only because, like I said earlier this year, Steelers had a great regular season, but look how they played to end the season. Not too well.
That is true. And Mike Tomlin been saying it for weeks now that we suck. We
haven't been playing too well, and the playoffs is not like the NBA when you get 7 games. It's one game, and we saw it today with the Seahawks. If everything's not clicking, you can be against the ropes. And the Browns, here's the thing. Here's the flip side. The Browns are going into the playoffs on a hot streak, and the Steelers are going into the playoffs on a cold streak.
Yeah, that's not good.
And technically, this is a division game. They're in the same division, so
there's no surprises.
Everybody knows in the division game in the NFL, I don't care how good you are or how sorry you are, anybody could get beat. Ask the Patriots. It always was a split between them and the Dolphins for years, even as bad as the Dolphins were. So, and the Browns are not as bad as they were in past years. Obviously, they made the playoffs. So, Steelers, I got them going home tomorrow.
Wow. Man, if you get both of those right, you might as well go ahead and play the lottery.
Yeah, I might book that flight to Vegas real quick. Hit the slot machine one time.
So let's go over to the NFC. Who do we have in the NFC playing?
We have the battle in the Big Easy.
New Orleans.
The Bears and the Saints. Drew Brees coming back. I believe Michael Thomas will be back for this game also. So Saints will be full-fledged. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Drew Brees with that high-power offense versus Khalil Mack and that furious defense, along with the upcoming rookie stud and Kendall Vildor that's balling out.
This is a classic NFL offense-defense matchup.
It is.
Saints defense, how are they? I haven't really paid attention.
We all know what comes with the Saints defense. Saints defense moves at the rate that Cameron Jordan moves. Mm-hmm. That's the motor. So if that defensive line starts getting amped up, start getting some stops, sacks, then they play well. But if they start letting big plays being made early, then they can be in for a long day, and then they're gonna count on Drew Brees to carry them the rest of the game and carry them in the game, or keep them in the game and carry them to the end. to close out the game. But don't sleep, Saints. I know you got a high power offense, but Khalil Mack, he hasn't seen the playoffs too many times in his career. I don't think he wants to waste this opportunity. And the Bears made a run. Again, another team that caught, somewhat of a little hot streak going into the playoffs. So if they end up playing like the old Bears that went to the Super Bowl against the Colts, where that team didn't have a great offense but a great defense, low scoring game, keep it close. It could be a field goal game. You don't know which way it might go.
And like I said, I pay attention to the human behavior and emotion behind it. This is a revenge game. If you recall, the Bears played the Saints already this season. Saints eked out a narrow victory, winning by a field goal last second. So that will be on their mind, of course. But, and you'd be shocked to hear this, I hope that the Bears win because I want to be able to see more games that my cousin's playing in. However, if I'm being unbiased, I feel like Drew Brees is on a mission. And then getting Thomas back, getting Kamara back from that short hiatus, I don't know if the Bears will have enough. And then on top of that, when you have such an aerial assault in Kamara and Thomas, and then you have one of the greatest of all time in Brees, and then you have a decimated secondary, they're missing Jalen Johnson, Buster Screen. Although they got the rookies, they got Kendall Vildor, they have Duke Shelley that were playing pretty well. Although Shelley's in his second year, the young guys, and then you got Fuller on the other side. It is going to be a tall order to try to bottle up Thomas. Just one thing, but Kamara's having.
He's all over the field.
He's having a crazy year. So we'll see. It is a revenge game, so we've got to keep that in mind. We know how athletes are. When they get a tough one and they have a chance to have a grudge match, that usually turns out to be a good game. So if the defense holds their end of the bargain, we could be in for a good one because Mitchell Trubisky is balling.
So I got this game being a little bit closer than what most people are predicting. All the Bears have to do is make sure you contain Drew Brees, keep him off the field, don't give up no big plays, and contain Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Make sure Michael Thomas don't get over the top 20-plus yard catches, and don't let Kamara run free. If you can do that, and make sure Drew Brees get touched. He's just like Brady. Touch him, put him on the ground, knock him down. Even you might not get sacks.
Even if you get a flag, to be honest.
Just let him know that you're there. Let him feel you, and then make that offense shake a little bit, make him hesitate. And, obviously, I got the Saints winning it from a biased standpoint or just from, football, logic. But the Bears, the Bears have a chance. I'm not going to completely count them out, but they have to play great football tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not making a pick on that one. Yeah, I can't make a pick on that one. I hope you, hey, cuz I'm not making a pick, man. I'm not making a pick. I hope you do well though.
Absolutely. So let's go into something that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. We can touch base on. Something I called out a couple weeks ago. Devontae Smith from Alabama won the Heisman.
All right, so we're switching to college football. All right, cool.
So for those that don't know, or for those that do know, Heisman just got announced last week. And the finalists were obviously Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Trask from Florida, and the quarterback from Notre Dame, Ian
Book. Yeah,
Ian Book. I'm sorry. And Devontae Smith ended up winning it, which that was my prediction. Obviously, since Justin Fields got out of the race, we all know why, but hey, we're not gonna talk about that. And I'm actually proud. For a couple of reasons. One, obviously, I'm gonna go with the black guy in the race, but I like how the committee this year did not snub him because of his position.
Yes.
He was up against 3 quarterbacks. And usually, the Heisman is a quarterback-driven award. And they didn't just fall into the trend, because easily this could have went to Mac Jones. But the year that Devontae Smith, I'm glad they didn't let that go to waste, because this happened to a lot of other stars, in the previous years. That's why AP didn't win the Heisman the year he had when he was at Oklahoma, and so on and so on.
Who did win?
When AP won?
Yeah.
Be honest with you, I don't remember, but it was a quarterback.
Okay, I'll look that up while you're talking.
But Devontae Smith, let's see why he won the Heisman. This year he ended up finishing the year with 105 catches, 1,641 yards, 20 touchdowns, 1 point return, and an average of 15.6 yards per play.
Yeah, it's clear, man. And Miami Dolphins, don't mess this up. All right? I don't care if you think you can get him lower in the lower rounds. Take Smith.
He won't be available. Forget that. He
what?
He won't
at
be available.
3?
He won't be available at the lower rounds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was about to say at 3?
Devontae Smith, mark my words, will go top 5. 5 is the lowest I see him going.
If Dolphins don't take him, man, oh my God.
Eagles, if there's a miracle in you to jump, do whatever you can, trade Carson Wentz, I don't care. Jump in the top 5 picks, please. And pair him up with Jalen Hurts.
Ooh-wee.
You will have another happy fan again, because
oh my,
we're coming to win the division next year. And we'll probably be back in the race for the Super Bowl. But, hey, Eagles, listen to me. Trade them. Get them. Trade up, because Devontae Smith is the real deal. This kid is no joke.
What's so interesting about him is just he doesn't look, he's not a DK Metcalf. He's not a Calvin that we talked about last week. He is I don't know. I'm watching him. He's just technically sound. He's got the burners. He's just the epitome of a wideout. So I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL, because I think his talent level is so high that it's just plug and play, man. Just throw it out there.
He'll him a nice quarterback. He would do well in the NFL.
Was it just me, or did the Heisman race seem muted this year?
It was.
I didn't even know what was going on.
Well, we didn't have a full complete year, and that's obviously why Justin Fields ended up not being in the race down the end. And then how the season played out, we had some big games, but obviously those big games didn't get the biggest publicity like they usually do. And honestly, the finalists weren't eye-popping guys. Outside of Devontae Smith, Trask was cool, and he played horrible in his bowl game, but Mac Jones, he's probably going to be a backup in the league. And honestly, he had a great year because of Devontae. Devontae had 20 touchdowns, for goodness sakes.
Sheesh.
So Devontae made Mac Jones.
Yeah.
So this year, finalist wasn't just eye-popping to me, honestly. So I think that's another reason why a lot of people, it didn't have a lot of chatter behind it, but I'm just glad they got the pick right.
Side note, before we move on from the Heisman, I did look up that Heisman race with Adrian Peterson. You won't believe who won that year. Matt Leinart.
Yes.
Well, I get it.
USC, and I know why.
I get it. You had Reggie Bush, and Reggie Bush went number 5 after, guess who? Alex Smith. The same Alex Smith.
But that's when USC had that dynasty,
right,
in college football. They were going to the national championship. I think they went 3 out of 4 years or something like that, or 2 out of 3 years, or some crazy number like that. Mm-hmm. Especially, there was no playoffs back then, so getting to a national championship was even a little bit harder than it is now, and it meant so much more. But that US team was star-studded left to right. It was one of the dynasties of college football at that time. Outside of the U, we haven't seen in a long time, so I can see why they made it. But AP should have won that year, because AP was doing things that, man, we probably haven't seen up to that point, at least. I can't say up to now, because there has been other running backs, Zeke had a great year at Ohio State, and there's been some other running backs, Derrick Henry at Alabama. But up to that AP point, we haven't seen a running back do the things that AP did in a long time. So AP got snubbed.
Yeah, of course.
But here's the funny thing: out of those 5 guys, we see who really should have won it because look at the career. AP had a better career than all them guys.
We've seen time and time again that college success is not indicative of
not at all
what success you have in the pros. Because listen to this list. This is just so interesting. I know we're going off tangent right now, but listen to this list. Matt Leinart won. He was number 1, and we're talking about voting. See, so 2 was Adrian Peterson, 3 was Jason White, 4 Alex Smith, 5 Reggie Bush, 6 Cedric Benson. That boy was mean. Cedric Benson out of Texas, Jason Campbell out of Auburn, JJ Arrington, Aaron Rodgers at 9. Did you even know that? I had no idea.
I didn't even know. But then again,
for me, it feels like Aaron Rodgers has been in the NFL his whole life. I don't remember him
in college
playing, but he played at Cal.
He did
at some point, but I don't remember it.
But the thing is, for Heisman, most people don't look past number 5.
Right.
So people are not going to remember Aaron Rodgers being in that race because anything after 5, you're kind of not really considered. Mm-hmm. It's a top 5 race. But yeah, I didn't even know that. That's actually something I just learned today. But if I was to take my statement back, Aaron Rodgers had the best career. Aaron Rodgers had the best career.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Out of all these Heisman runners. But if we're talking about the true runners, the top 5, I am taking Mr. Adrian Peterson because if he never got injured, we might can be talking about one of the best running backs to ever play.
Absolutely.
In the NFL.
I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wish he had got a ring, but in the NFL that's tough. But definitely those first, I want to say 5-6 years he played before that first major injury he had. Man, there's a lot of people that could not stop this guy.
If anything, he started a trend because I remember when ACLs became this thing, because athletes became bigger, faster, stronger. Our knees hadn't evolved yet.
And the science
yet. And then AP was like,
cut.
We are going to evolve right now.
Yeah.
And so I remember when he tore his ACL and then like 7 months later, he was back, and I'm like, what? I don't understand.
He was killing.
And you look like nothing happened. And then after that, it's like people just started coming back from ACLs. Yeah, we're just going to come back. Because if AB said we could do it, then we can do it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if anything else, besides all the accolades and all the mind-numbing plays that we've seen, he paved the way. He walked so that Derrick Henry could run. And could run people over, amen. So, AP doesn't matter. He didn't get that ring, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Speaking of running over, I know this is gonna be off topic a little bit, but do you remember the time when AP ran over Ryan Clark?
Yes, clearly. I remember it clearly, and I remember yelling out, "That man got kids. You can't do that." I don't know if he had kids or not, but somebody out there loved Ryan Clark, and you just made them very embarrassed.
Jesus. Yeah, I would never forget that Sunday, but anyway.
But for real, Ryan Clark, make an executive decision. Move out the way.
Yeah. You should never met him in that hole.
Tickle the toes,
Because one-on-one with AP back then was not good for you.
Suicide.
Yeah.
So we got one last thing to talk about. Let's talk about this national championship. Finally, we're seeing some championship ball with OHIO. How you feel about that?
Well, you know how I feel. I mean, it's only right. I mean, technically, we were supposed to be there last year.
Long drought.
And we were supposed to be there in 2015 when they decided to disqualify us because of blah, 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 committee rules, whatever. But anyway, we're here now. Mm-hmm. And Ohio State is about that time. We have not won a championship since Zeke Elliott scored 4 touchdowns against Oregon in the national championship. I still have my shirt, by the way. Wow. But I need Justin Fields to get a ring before he goes to the league. So, guys, on Monday, please wake up, because we have our hands full with this star-studded, NFL-ready Alabama team. I hope Justin is healthy. I know he had that hit to the ribs. I hope his ribs is okay, or at least okay enough to throw the ball. Chris Olave, please watch film and read the playbook. Don't run the wrong route again this year. But on all seriousness, obviously we know who I'm going to take. I'm taking the Ohio State University, but it's going to be a tough matchup.
Of course.
But we're very much capable of beating Alabama, and that's just not by my biased standpoint. I think we just have enough talent this year.
I actually agree. I am going with Ohio State as well. Like I said, I bet on emotion, and these young guys are starved. They're hungry. Justin Fields has been disrespected multiple times, and he is a bad man. So I really am going with Ohio State. What I'm looking forward to, the matchup I'm looking forward to, because this man was talking cash all week. Sean Wade, you better be ready for Devontae Smith, because you've been talking cash all week. You know who I want to be against. You know what it is. I'm like, all right. Because the guy on the other end, he's a shark in the water, and there's blood. All right, so keep talking that cash, my man. I'm hoping to see good DB play from him.
Well, I'm praying for you, because even I would not request that. But hey, if you got that much confidence, by all means. But
we're both going to Ohio State. Interesting.
The X factor is going to come down to Mr. Sermon. I hope he has a sermon word for that Alabama defense.
Hallelujah.
Because he has to get going early. That's what's going to open up the offense. That's what's going to open up the passing offense. Sermon has to run for at least 100 yards, at least. He has to get going early, so the offensive line has to create some holes for him. He can't be hesitating in the backfield. He has to hit the hole, hit it fast, hit it strong, and get it going. Then that'll open up the play action for Justin Fields, to the tight ends, or to Chris Olave, and even get Justin out in the corners, using his legs, which he's also great at. So, I just hope, that OSU offense has to get to a fast start against the Alabama defense.
Wow. I couldn't say it any better myself. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be a good one, man. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. That was a great episode.
Absolutely.
So, what we would like to do is request you guys to comment. All right, keep telling people about us. We would love to hear from you. I've been getting texts from friends telling us, "Hey, Vlad was wrong." That's usually what they say. I love hearing from people.
Not perfect,
right? Not perfect, of course. But please send us messages. We love to read and hear about you. Of course, you get your shout out here on the show. Until next time, we're gonna have a lot of fun watching this good football over the weekend. All right, Cash Crew. Until next time.
See you next week.